Hey everybody, it's me again, Jeff Ong. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this great event. If you've just joined us, welcome along. This is I Hate Being Hated, which is an online benefit event presented by Ruckus Club, 400 days and sessions live. I'm very, very honored to be a part of it. And I hope you've been enjoying the performances and listening and reflecting upon all the statements that people have been making. It's really important. And I'm glad you're here. So don't forget that we are raising money for Stand With Asian Americans today. You can donate at their website by going to standwithasianamericans.com and you click the blue donate button. Alternatively, you can send some love hearts via sessions. And all of the money that we're going to raise via sessions today is going to be donated directly to Stand With Asian Americans. So anything that you can spare would be greatly appreciated and super helpful. Up next, we have some statements from a bunch of some great non-profit organizations who I'm going to tell you all about right now using the notes on my phone because, again, small brain, big notes. So, first up, we have Unity Against Hate. They're a non-profit based in Sacramento, California, and Unity Against Hate are joining voices to take action against acts of hate on AAPI and all other communities. Take a stand against verbal and physical violence perpetrated on Asians. Together, we will fight and prevail to end hate crimes and discrimination in the United States of America. After that, we have the Koreatown Immigrant Workers Alliance, and they're a non-profit based in Los Angeles, California. So the Koreatown Immigrant Workers Alliance, or KIWA, is a multi-ethnic immigrant worker civil rights membership organization based in the Los Angeles Koreatown area. KIWA was founded in 1992 by progressive-minded Korean activists who saw class as the basic contradiction of the immigrant communities in Koreatown. It has since been involved in the aftermath of the 1992 Los Angeles civil unrest, campaigns to improve working conditions, and immigrant worker empowerment in various Korean ethnic industries, the Living Wages campaign, and Koreatown's multi-ethnic community developments. After that, we have the Asian Pacific Community Fund, who are a non-profit based in Los Angeles, California, and their mission is to cultivate philanthropists to invest in organizations that empower underserved Asian and Pacific Islanders to prosper. Their vision is to build a thriving API community fostered by a culture of philanthropy through building healthier communities, creating a stronger API voice, and developing API leaders. Stop AAPI Hate is the next speaker, and they're a non-profit based in San Francisco, California. And in response to the alarming escalation in xenophobia and bigotry resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, the Asian Pacific Planning and Policy Council, or A3P-CON, Chinese for Affirmative Action, or the CAA, and the Asian American Studies Department of San Francisco State University launched the Stop AAPI Hate Reporting Center on March 19, 2020. The center tracks and responds to incidents of hate, violence, harassment, discrimination, shunning, and child bullying against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States. Their approach recognizes that in order to effectively address anti-Asian racism, we must work to end all forms of structural racism leveled at Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color. And just before we hear from our speakers today, one other reminder that we are raising money for Stand With Asian Americans, and you can find them at standwithasianamericans.com, and you can donate at their website there by clicking on the blue donate button, or you can send love to all of us, via sessions. So thank you very much again for tuning in, and let's hear from our speakers.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Liu, Senior Advisor for API Public Affairs APAPA. At APAPA, our mission is to be committed to the advancement and empowerment of the API community. We are so proud to partner with over 120 diverse organizations, including the Ruckus Club. And during API Heritage Month this year, just on May 15th, we stood in solidarity, united against hate, a nationwide rally that crossed the country with over 18 cities and over 120 partnering organizations. And you're presenting tonight, I Hate Being Hated. and we all join you in solidarity to support Stand with Asian Americans. And truly, we are so proud to be with you here today, and we stand in solidarity and in unity for all Asian Americans and our API community. So on behalf of APAPA, the API Public Affairs Association, and in unity and in solidarity, we want to say congratulations to all of you for a great event. Thank you for the great work you do on behalf of our API community.
Greetings, Joy Ruckus Clubbers. My name is Alexandra Sa. I'm Executive Director of Kiwa, the Koreatown Immigrant Workers Alliance, and I too hate being hated. I deeply appreciate all the folks who have lifted up the Stop Asian Hate hashtag, including everyone here, and who are drawing attention to the unending stream of horrendous and scary acts of anti-Asian violence, past and present. The murders of Asian massage parlor workers in Atlanta is just one of the most visible of the racist and misogynist acts of violence that have stalked our community for the entire duration of our history in the United States. And when we look at this history, we need to recognize both the unique ways that Asians have been racialized and gendered and targeted, and the connections between our experiences of racial violence and those of other communities, particularly Black, Native American, and Latino communities in the United States. We recognize that the stereotypes that people hold of Asians or other groups are not true. Not all Asian women are this way, not all Black men are that way, not all Latinas are this way. But if we want to dismantle these habits of hateful thinking and the cultural and physical violence that they engender, we need to go beyond the liberal refutation of a stereotype by the mere assertion that we are all human beings. Yes, we're human beings, but to stay on that does not acknowledge the ideological work that a stereotype always does. We need to ask, what are the hated characteristics of Asians, and what is the political and ideological work that this specific form of dehumanization play at this moment in time? Asian men, for instance, are associated in the U.S. culture with wimpiness or weakness, women with hypersexualization and willingness, both with disease 100 years before COVID-19. U.S. culture has associated Asians with not valuing life, with having no individuality, with teeming masses, the threat of economic domination. Now, these are familiar tropes, are of course dehumanizing and not true, but they are more than inaccurate. The narratives they promote hide the truth, but when we look closer, they operate in classic fetish fashion also to reveal it. What does it accomplish to blame Chinese people for COVID? It creates an enemy and a target and a repository for rage that distracts people from the wholesale economic and political disenfranchisement that all low-income Americans are undergoing, including white Americans. The killer in Atlanta went out of his way to go to 3 separate Asian massage parlors and shoot women there, taking the lives of mothers, sisters, and daughters. Without knowing anything about these women, and I am making absolutely no assumptions about who they are as actual people, we can still identify the trope of the Asian prostitute popularized since the late 19th and 20th century. The U.S., represented by this white man, genuinely feels superior and desired, but at the same time knows that if she is presenting herself as inferior and desirous, it is out of economic constraint, revealing on the part of the American white male subject both a need and an anxiety. But if we know this, what do we do about it? Knowing it does not stop the violence that people are facing every single day. Well, we don't wring our hands. At my organization, Kiwa, we do what we've been doing all along. We organize across racial and ethnic lines to build worker power. Organizing is not a theoretical concept, it is a practice, and it is a daily practice that dismantles racism. By asserting our voices and our power in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods, and in our polities, we can create conditions better than those we grew up under, and we also transform ourselves in the process. But it takes all of us. So, join an organization, come to Kiwa at kiwa.org, or find another collective project that makes your heart sing. Together, we gain the power to stop Asian hate and all racist hate.
Good evening. I'm Christine Najong Lee, and it's my honor to join you tonight on behalf of the Asian Pacific Community Fund of Southern California. Thanks to all of you for joining us as we take a stand against Asian hate crimes together. While violence against Asian Americans is unfortunately not new, but a part of our country's history, these attacks on our community members have escalated to troubling degrees, with many of us worried not just about the health of our loved ones during this pandemic, but for their safety as well. As a community fund, APCF believes that our diverse Asian and Pacific Islander communities are best served by nonprofits that speak our languages, know our cultures, and have the trust of our community members. Our 62 network agencies have continued to serve our API communities in need throughout the pandemic with linguistically and culturally responsive services, particularly for our most vulnerable community members, such as our seniors. This includes helping them get access to much needed PPE, culturally appropriate hot meals and groceries, emergency relief funds, and yes, even life-saving vaccines. Together, we serve over 2.5 million people in 34 API languages throughout Southern California. Since 1990, our vision is a thriving API community fostered by a culture of philanthropy. APCF is proud to support I Hate Being Hated and stand with Asian Americans to help uplift our community in our time of need. Our deepest gratitude to the Joy Ruckus Club for bringing this all together. Although AAPI Heritage Month may be over, may we continue to celebrate our history, our culture, both our joy and our struggles that are part of our heritage throughout the year. May this moment become a movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy Ruckus Club, for standing with Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. As our video has indicated, thousands of our community members have reported being verbally harassed, being discriminated in the workplace, in schools, on public streets. And we know that close to 65% of our respondents are Asian women. This impact has been devastating for our communities, where we have community members who fear leaving their home, fear for their safety. And we know that the mental health impacts are also equally devastating. 1 in 5 of our respondents have expressed that they are experiencing PTSD and racial trauma. This is a time that we need to work together within our vast community and across communities. Together, we can stop AAPI hate.